Do not take baking soda unless you watch this video. Baking soda has the potential to help or even poison you. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. It's an alkaline compound. And guess what? Your body makes it. Your pancreas makes it. As the strong acid comes from your stomach into the small intestine, if that pancreas does not release enough sodium bicarbonate, you don't get any of the benefits from the enzymes coming from the pancreas to help you digest fats and other things. This is why when someone's pancreas is not working, boy, they can get severe bloating, they get diarrhea, they get constipation. We need a really strong acid stomach, and then we need an alkaline small intestine. Let's talk first about the benefits of baking soda. Baking soda, being an alkaline substance, can be beneficial for temporarily relieving an acid stomach. I have to clarify something, because when we talk about an acid stomach, a lot of things come up. You might have like GERD, acid reflux. All those things are a little bit different, because you never want to take baking soda when you have indigestion. Indigestion is like this backup of food that just you feel like your stomach is like cramping. That is a classic low acid or a lack of acid situation. So of course, adding more baking soda is just going to go from bad to worse. Anytime you have indigestion, you need to take either apple cider vinegar or something called betaine hydrochloride. It'll fix it really fast. But when we get into more of an acidic stomach, whether it is acid reflux or GERD, if you wanted some temporary relief as you fix the problem, a little bit of baking soda would help you, but just a little bit, because usually those problems are also a lack of acid. But the baking soda will at least put the fire out and make you feel more comfortable. But then you would also want to do apple cider vinegar and or betaine hydrochloride. Now, what about gastritis? You would want to take baking soda for sure, but also take something called zinc carnosine so you can actually heal that problem. But you just need to understand that the normal pH of the stomach is between 1 and 3. That is like battery acid. And just don't get in the habit of taking baking soda for a long period of time, because you're going to neutralize your stomach acids. And now you're going to end up with an inability to digest protein, the inability to absorb B12, an inability to absorb minerals, and also you're not going to be able to kill off any type of microbes or pathogens that might be in your food. Now, if you take baking soda for a long time, chronically, is there really a chance of your blood becoming too alkaline? And the answer is probably not, because the effect that baking soda has on our bodies is very temporary. If your body is too alkaline, you're going to have some issues with your muscles because of how that affects the electrolytes. Another really good benefit of baking soda is to help to neutralize the acid in your mouth from the bacteria that is forming these little biofilm tartar plaquing situations. So baking soda could be one of the ingredients in your toothpaste, and I actually show you how to make that. I will put that link down below. But ultimately, you got to get the sugar out of the diet, because sugar is what's making that acid. Another benefit of baking soda is to relieve itching from a kidney problem. When your kidney becomes damaged, you start developing too much acid, and that can affect your skin, especially itching, among other symptoms. One of the great antidotes to that is to take something to neutralize the acid, and that takes the stress off the kidney. In fact, some people with kidney problems even take some baking soda to prolong going on dialysis, because when the kidneys are damaged, it can't regulate the pH anymore like it used to, because a diseased kidney will make more acids. Now, another way I would use baking soda is, let's say, for example, you're doing prolonged fasting or even intermittent fasting, and you're a carnivore, you're doing a lot of meat, and then you start feeling this acidity coming up through your stomach. Some baking soda here and there can help chill that out, especially if you're trying to sleep at night and it's kind of coming up through your esophagus. Another unique beneficial way to take baking soda is if you're an athlete and you're going to compete in some sport and you wanted the unfair advantage. You wanted to be able to do more reps. You wanted to go a little longer. You want a little better performance and less lactic acid buildup, which can actually stop you from using your muscles, especially with high intensity type activities. Because if you take all of it at once and feel nauseous, we want to avoid that. If you really want to know how much you should take, it's 0.2 grams per kilogram of weight. Another benefit of baking soda is to help prevent kidney stones. So if you're susceptible to kidney stones, you can take some baking soda because uric acid dissolves in baking soda. And this is why baking soda is also good in a gout situation, at least as a temporary action. Of course, ultimately, you'd want to avoid any types of fructose, high fructose corn syrup, especially. Another way you can take baking soda is if you have a UTI. It'll actually change the environment so the microbes or the pathogens can't exist anymore. And then the last benefit of baking soda would be some topical applications for some type of insect bite. If the insect's venom is alkaline, that could make you worse. There are 2 insects that have an acid venom. So applying baking soda would help that. Ants, especially fire ants, and bee stings would benefit from putting some topical baking soda on the actual sting bite. So just get some wet and apply it to your skin. If you get stung by a wasp, do not put baking soda on that because those venoms are more alkaline. If you add more alkaline, you're going to make it worse. What you should put on that is vinegar. A spider bite, don't put baking soda on that. The best thing to put on that is either activated charcoal or bentonite clay, which has the power of like pulling things out of the skin. And then a snake bite. The best antidote for that is something called milk thistle. And as a side note, baking soda is also really good for insects, especially cockroaches, because if you add sugar with baking soda and you leave it out for the cockroaches, they'll eat it. Then from the chemical reaction, you'll get carbon dioxide and their digestive systems will rupture and they will die. Okay, so that would be a natural way to get rid of these insects so you don't have these insecticides around your house. The other thing you need to know about baking soda is you never want to take it with vinegar or lemon juice because it's just going to create so much carbon dioxide. Your stomach is going to bloat up with carbon dioxide. Not a good idea. And I think you already know this too. You can open a container of baking soda and keep it in the fridge and it gets rid of the odors. So now that you know a little bit more about this home remedy baking soda, you should check out my apple cider vinegar video right here.